Today, we are diving deep into a really fascinating, and let's be honest, often misunderstood topic. And we're going to do it through the lens of Dr. David Frawley's incredible book, Tantric Yoga and the Wisdom Goddesses. We're going to strip away all the hype and get right to the heart of what this ancient spiritual path is all about.
So let me just ask you straight up. When you hear that word Tantra, what's the very first thing that pops into your head? Because for a lot of us, it's probably a very specific and very narrow set of ideas that we've gotten from pop culture.
And that's exactly where we have to start our journey, by looking at Tantra beyond the bedroom. To really get what it is, we first have to clear away some really common and really persistent misconceptions.
I mean, as Dr. Frawley's book points out right from the very beginning, for most people here in the West, the word Tantra has pretty much become a synonym for sex. It's usually sold as this collection of exotic techniques to make pleasure better, kind of like a spiritual Kama Sutra.
But, and this is the most important thing to get, this popular sex-centric idea is just a tiny, tiny little piece of a much bigger, much deeper spiritual system. And that piece is usually completely misinterpreted. It's kind of like looking at one single distorted pixel and thinking you've seen the entire masterpiece.
So let's get into it. Let's start correcting some of these ideas. This is where we're going to separate the modern myth from the ancient reality, and we'll use the book to guide us.
And you can see the difference so clearly right here. On one side, you have the pop culture version we all know. It's about sexual techniques, it's a new age trend, and it's all focused on pleasure. But then you look at traditional Tantra, the real deal, and it's something totally different. It's an ancient spiritual path from India, and its main goal, self-realization, enlightenment. The fundamental purpose couldn't be more different. George Feuerstein, who wrote the foreword for the book, just nails it with this quote. He says, "Traditional Tantra isn't about sex for the sake of sex. No, it's about taking that powerful creative energy that sexuality represents and transmuting it, transforming it into a spiritual force."
And to really drive this point home, get this. The book points out that many of the most famous and revered tantric masters were actually lifelong celibates. We're talking about giants like the philosopher Shankara and the mystic Ramakrishna. They were deeply tantric in their worship of the goddess, but sex just wasn't part of their practice. That totally flips the modern stereotype on its head, right?
Okay, so if Tantra isn't what most people think it is, then what in the world is it? Well, let's move on and look at how it's actually an energetic spiritual path.
Okay, so at its core, you can think of Tantra as an energetic approach to spirituality. As the preface explains, it uses this whole toolkit of practices, things like mantra, ritual, visualization, meditation, and the goal of all of it is to help us directly experience our own divine nature. It's a very active path of transformation.
And right at the very heart of all this, the absolute center of the practice, is the worship of the goddess, the Divine Mother, as the supreme creative power behind everything in the universe. This devotional part is absolutely key. Now this leads us to one of Tantra's most revolutionary ideas, something that really sets it apart from a lot of other spiritual paths. Its whole philosophy of embracing the body and the world.
So instead of seeing the body as a problem, a source